When I released my last Bigfoot video, Bigfoot in Alaska, I went over a couple stories about Bigfoot swimming. And that really surprised me, as most apes, especially the larger ones, don't like to get in the water. So that made me think that if Bigfoot does exist, then maybe it's a lot more like us than we think. And right after I released that video, I stumbled upon this article, and I found these other sightings to be extremely interesting, so I wanted to share them with you. One of the earliest known encounters of a Bigfoot swimming happened in the 1830s when people in Indiana saw what they thought was a person swimming in Fish Lake. But when they got a better look, they saw that this person was covered in hair, was only about 4 feet tall, and just looked really different. But they still believed at that time that it was a human, but a wild human, and they called him or her a wild child. And many people claim to have seen this wild kid in this lake and around this area during this time period. Now, about 100 plus years later, Bigfoot researchers stumbled upon this mass sighting of this wild human being. But they don't believe that it was a wild human. They believe that it was a Bigfoot child, according to the eyewitness descriptions. Another very famous encounter happened in Washington in 1967 when a fisherman was pulling in his net, when all of a sudden he felt a very powerful tug and the fishing net ripped right out of his hands. So the fisherman ran to go get his flashlight to see what or who did this. And when he shined his flashlight in the water, he saw a very hairy man-like creature swimming away with his fish. Now, not only was this man shocked by what he was looking at, he was also pissed because this creature just stole his dinner. Then in 1965, a man in British Columbia was out fishing in his boat when he saw something rather large swimming in the water. And this man just stared and wondered, what could this possibly be? Then he noticed that whatever this was swimming right towards his boat. Now, at that time, he thought that it might be a person, and maybe this person wanted to have a chat with him or something. But when this thing got closer, he saw that this was no man. This was an ape, and it was extremely large. So scared out of his mind, he started his boat's engine and he got the heck out of there. And as he was getting away, he saw more of these large apes standing on their legs on the shoreline. Now, once he got home, he finally realized that he had just seen a group or a family of Bigfoots. Another very famous encounter happened in Texas when a man named John heard some sort of disturbance going on his porch one night. And when he went to go investigate, he saw something rather large take one of its rabbits and take off back into the darkness of the forest. So John, very unhappy, followed this thief, who he assumed at the time was a homeless man. But once he got to Trinity River, he was able to get a better look thanks to the full moon. And John claims that he saw a very large, very hairy ape human-like creature swimming in the river against the current. He also saw that this thing was still holding onto his rabbit. So John, amazed by what he was looking at, just stood there staring in total disbelief and also scared to death. He was never a believer in Bigfoot until he saw it that night with his own eyes. Another very interesting sighting happened over at Crater Lake when a man was cooking breakfast at his campsite when something caught his eye in the water. And for whatever reason, this man was very curious as to what this was. At first, he thought that it was a bear, but when he looked closer, he realized that this was no bear, but some type of very large ape. Then this creature got out of the water and lied down on the shoreline as if it was trying to dry off. And this man stated that he was able to observe this creature for some time before it walked off like a man into the forest. Then in March of 2007, a family was having a very nice day at the beach in Northern California when they claimed that they saw Bigfoot swimming in the water with the sea lions. And it seemed that this Bigfoot was not at all bothered by the sea lions or the cold water. And this location is not that far away from where Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin filmed the most famous and controversial Bigfoot footage of all time, known as the Patterson footage. Now, I'm very glad that I stumbled upon these sightings because now I know that Bigfoot seems to like swimming in the water. And if I was trying to find proof of Bigfoot, it might be a better idea to stake out the shorelines or the lakes instead of the forest, as that way I will be able to get a clear view of what I was looking at, and just maybe finally get that undeniable evidence that thousands of people have been trying to get for hundreds of years. Until next time, this is Paranormal Junkie. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned.